friends, I'm Arpit and I'm here with today's analysis. Today is 8th of July and we are going to deal with three very important topics which are in news. First is India's balance of payment. All the exports, imports, all the investments coming in India and going out of India are part of balance of payments. There are two accounts in the balance of payments, which is current account first, which comprises of all the imports and exports, dividends earned on all the investments done by the foreign players in India. Whereas on the other hand is capital account, which comprises of all the investments which are coming in India and going out of India. The balance of these two accounts comprises of the balance of payments. And it is very much significant because it helps in denoting the power of rupee or the, I would say, value of rupee. It also gives a signal to the foreign investors what is the economic health of a country. Next is Digital Bharat Nidhi. In 2003, the telecom companies in the country were mandated for contributing 5% of their revenue to a fund named as Universal Service Obligation Fund. This Universal Service Obligation Fund had to increase the digital penetration in the unserved and underserved areas, technological advancements it had to serve, and it had to set standards for the telecom companies which are operating in the country. Overall, it was for expanding and making the telecom sector more robust. This fund is now going to be replaced by Digital Bharat Nidhi. Next is BRICS attracting ASEAN countries. ASEAN countries like Malaysia and Thailand have expressed interest in joining the BRICS, which has recently seen an expansion. BRICS, which comprised of Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, included countries like Saudi Arabia, Iran, UAE, Ethiopia, and Egypt in 2024. Now, ASEAN countries have expressed their interest in this particular organization. So these are the topics which we'll be studying, and then we'll come to the MCQs, and then we'll discuss the MCQs of Saturday. Now, India's balance of payment. The first topic is last week data from Reserve Bank of India showed that India's current account was in surplus during the fourth quarter, that is Jan to March of 2023-2024. Current account, as as a trend, has always been in deficit. But yes, we've seen this in positive in the last quarter. Was it the first time when it was in the last positive in the last quarter? No, it is not. It was not the first time. We also saw it during financial year 2020, which was the COVID year. Now, significance of transactions on current account. Movements in the current account are closely monitored as they not only impact the exchange rate of the rupee and India's sovereign ratings, but also because they point to the overall health of the economy. The current account comprises of imports and exports, the dividend being earned on the investments done by the foreign players in stock markets of India through FIIs or FPIs. So if they are taking away money more, means if the imports are more into India as compared to exports, or if the dividend taken by the foreign investors are more as compared to the dividend taken by the Indians from investments in abroad, then the current account will be in deficit. And this was a normal trend for India. But the last quarter of FY24 showed a reverse trend where current account was shown in surplus. Now, what is balance of payment? It is essentially a ledger of countries' transactions with the rest of the world. These transactions can be for import and export. These transactions can be for investments also. As Indians trade and transact with the rest of the world, money flows in and out of the country. BOP shows how much money, shown here in billions of US dollars in the table which we'll be seeing, went out of the country and how much money came in. All the money coming into the country is marked as positive, and all the money going out of the country obviously is marked as negative. Why does BOP matter? BOP matters because it captures the relative demand of the rupee vis-a-vis demand of foreign currencies, which decides the strength of rupee or the value of rupee vis-a-vis other currencies. Now, understanding India's balance of payments through these, I would say, through this particular table. Now, India's balance of payments, there are two accounts. One is current account and the other is capital account. Current account, as I've been saying, includes all the imports and exports and dividends taken on the investments. Trade of goods minus 51 clearly donates that we imported more goods as compared to export of goods. And the deficit was $51 billion. Trade of services, $57 billion in positive means we exported more services as compared to we imported more services. And hence, the balance out is $6 billion. That is why for quarter 4 of financial year 24, this current account was in surplus. But if you see the current account in the entire, I would say, financial year 24, minus $242 billion was the deficit for goods, $218 billion was the surplus for services. So if we balance it out, it will be somewhere around $24 billion in deficit. Now, this $24 billion in deficit will be compensated by the capital account. That is how things go. And you can see current account being in deficit for financial year 23 also. Financial year 21, it was in surplus. Why? Because it was COVID year. Financial year 25, it is again expected to be in deficit. So this is how things go. And constituents of BOP, we'll understand this BOP in a more broader sense now. This table shows two types of accounts which you've already seen, current account and capital account. Now, in the current account, as the name suggests, records transactions that are of current nature. Current nature means trade of goods and services, trade of goods, trade of services, the remittance, the, I would say, dividends taken on the investments done by the foreign investors over here in India in the stock markets of India, that is FII or FPI. The net of these two kinds of trades is the current account. So, net, we saw most of the times it is in deficit. In financial year 24, it was in deficit, but for the fourth quarter of financial year 24, it was in surplus. Next is the capital account. It captures the transactions that are less about current consumption and more about investments. So once the money has been brought in, that is a capital investment. That is why it will come in capital account. And on that money, earnings will be done. So such as foreign direct investments and foreign institutional investments. Foreign direct investment, a company is coming and setting up a factory over here, bringing in some money, capital account. Foreign institutional investors bringing in some money, that initial investment amount, which has to be invested in the stocks, capital account. But the amount or the dividend taken on that investment will be current account. That is the difference which you need to understand and know. Lastly, BOP table always balances to the change in foreign exchange reserves column. So whatever the difference between current account, let's suppose current account is in deficit of $40 billion and capital account is in surplus of $20 billion. Then, or $60 billion it is in surplus. Then, $20 billion overall we are in surplus. That $20 billion will be added to the forex reserve, which is managed by RBI. Okay. So where there is a BOP surplus, net of current and capital account, implying billions of dollars coming into the country, RBI sucks up these dollars and adds to its foreign exchange reserves, building up the foreign exchange reserves. Now, next piece of news is Digital Bharat Nidhi. This Digital Bharat Nidhi is a fund which is contributed by the telecom players, contributing 5% of their revenue to this fund. For what purpose? This fund will be utilized for covering the unserved and underserved areas, for enhancing the quality of delivery of the services by the telecom companies, for setting up standards in the telecom sector, overall making the telecom sector more robust. This Digital Bharat Nidhi is not the first of its kind fund for the telecom sector. In 2003, there was this Universal Service Obligation Fund which was created by Government of India for this purpose. This USOF, that is Universal Service Obligation Fund, is going to be replaced by Digital Bharat Nidhi. So on July 4th, the Department of Telecommunications released the draft rules to operationalize Digital Bharat Nidhi. It would replace the Universal Service Obligation Fund, which is a pool of funds generated by a 5% Universal Service Levy charge upon the telecom fund operators on their adjusted gross revenue. Idea is this money would be used to fund the expansion of the telecom networks in remote and rural areas. See, remote and rural areas, less number of people are there, the paying capacity of the people is less. So it should not be like that. These companies, generally going by the business mindset, they will not invest in those areas. But yes, going by this fund, those areas will also be covered. That was the main purpose of introducing this fund. How will Digital Bharat Nidhi work? As per the Telecom Act, contributions made by telecom companies towards the Digital Bharat Nidhi will first be credited to the Consolidated Fund of India, CFI. All revenues that the government receives, including loans raised and all money received in repayment of loans, are credited to the CFI, and this fund will also be credited to the CFI. Government also incurs its expenditure from this fund. The center will deposit the collected funds to the DBN from time to time. Funds collected under DBM will be used to support universal service through promoting access to and delivery of telecommunication services underserved, rural, remote, and urban areas. So the key is underserved areas. Fund research and development of the telecommunication services. This is also important. Support pilot projects, consultancy assistance, and advisory support for improving connectivity and for introduction of telecommunication services, technologies, and products. As per the draft rules issued by Department of Telecom on how DBN will be operationalized, the center will appoint an administrator for this particular purpose. Because see, in the earlier USOF, those funds were underutilized. And what's the point? You have the money, but you are not able to invest that. So a proper dedicated administrator will be there who will select DBN implementers. This so-called administrator will determine the modalities of providing funding DBN implementers on a case-by-case basis, limited to full funding, partial funding, co-funding, market risk mitigation, and risk capital. All these things will be considered, and then you know this DBN implementers means which will be telecom companies only. You go and install over there, over there, over there like this. The DBN shall fund schemes and projects for providing targeted access to telecommunication services. Particularly, the focus will be on women, persons with disabilities, and economically and social weaker sections of the society. That in certain areas where these kind of people are more, there these kind of digital services or the networks need to reach at a priority basis. What are the aims of DBN? DBN, Digital Bharat Nidhi. Next generation telecommunication technologies should be introduced in the country, like 6G we are targeting. Improving affordability of telecommunications. Promote innovation, research and development, promotion and commercialization of indigenous technologies. All these should be there. Developing and establishing relevant standards for the telecom sector. And last, encouraging startups in the telecommunication sector. Overall, if we see in a nutshell, the aim of Digital Bharat Nidhi will be to strengthen the telecom sector. The condition is that the implementation of this particular Nidhi or this particular fund, the utilization of this fund should be apt, should be efficient, should be transparent, should be accurate. Then only this problem of underutilization of USOF, which was introduced in 2003, will be tackled. Now, what degree of underutilization was there? According to information shared in the parliament by former Minister of State for Communications, Devushin Chauhan in December 2022, said that between 2017 and 2022, for these 5 years, the government had collected 41,740 crore rupees for this fund or in this fund. These were the contributions done by the telcos, 5% of their revenue they had to contribute. And only 30,213 crore was used. That is about 72% of the funds were only used. In 2019-20, the collection was 7,962 crore rupees and the spent amount was just 2,962 crore rupees. Reason, the underspending of funds allocated for BharatNet project for bringing fiber net connectivity to the rural areas. So we did not invest funds over there, means this program of BharatNet was not implemented properly. Now, the next piece of news is BRICS attracting ASEAN countries. ASEAN are Association of Southeast Asian countries. There are 10 countries in this ASEAN bloc, and out of 10, two countries, that is Thailand and Malaysia, have expressed their willingness to join this grouping, that is BRICS. This is a grouping of the global south where all the developing countries and the underdeveloped countries of Asia, South Africa, Africa, and South America are there. Currently, the member countries in this are BRICS countries, that is Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. This is the acronym for this. But, you know, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and United Arab Emirates, UAE, have joined the grouping in 2024. Now, the name would be BRICS Plus, but this has not been officially announced. Combined, its members account for 45% of the world's population, around 3.5 billion people. These are net worth around $30 trillion or 28 trillion euros, which is around 28% of the global economy among these 10 countries. Promising group this is, that is why Malaysia and Thailand want to join this. This bloc can help Malaysia's digital economy grow faster. Many digital economies like India, for example, are here in this particular domain. China is also moving very fast. Thailand would also be able to draw investments in important industries, including services, manufacturing, and agriculture. So that is the bait for Thailand, or that is the attraction for Thailand. Then trade ties that Malaysia and Thailand already have with China. China is the largest trading partner for both of these countries. For Malaysia, it is the largest trading partner for the past 15 years, and for Thailand, it is the largest trading partner for last 11 years. These two countries believe that their integration with China will increase, but with other members of the grouping will also increase. Now, it is said and predicted by the analysts that among the ASEAN countries, these two countries have explicitly said that we are going to join or we want to join, and they have filed the application for joining. But other countries like Indonesia or Laos, Myanmar, not Myanmar, but Laos, Vietnam, Philippines, they have also shown interest in joining BRICS. So, are we heading towards more expansion of BRICS? The time will tell. Now, considering the MCQs based on these topics, these three topics, consider the following and mark the correct statements. India's BOP comprises of current and capital account. India's current account has been positive for financial year 2024. Among these two statements, which one is correct? Simple question. Carefully answer this. Which of the following is part of the current account? The dividends on investments done by FII, the investments and dividends of FII, investments done by FII, none of the above. Carefully, slight difference between all the options and mark accordingly. Consider the following statements with respect to Digital Bharat Nidhi and mark the correct one. DBN means Digital Bharat Nidhi will replace the USOF. USOF, introduced in 2005, aims to enhance network coverage in unserved areas. Which of these statements are correct? Fourth, which of the following are aims of DBN? Improving affordability, promoting innovation, setting standards. Out of these three, find the correct combination and mark it accordingly. The last question, which of the countries is part of the expanded BRICS? Malaysia, Argentina, Saudi Arabia, or Indonesia? So, accordingly, mark it. Now, MCQs for 6th of July, these are, we will be discussing the answers to these. Consider the following statements and mark the correct one. The Korean War was primarily due to Cold War rivalry. Yes, this statement is true. USA intervened directly in the war to militarily help South Korea. Yes, after that meeting in the United Nations, it entered directly. And both these statements are correct. C is the correct answer for this particular question. Which line divides North and South Korea? So I can close my eyes and mark on this particular option, 38th parallel. So that was a very simple question. Consider the following statements and mark the correct one. First is wildfires in Arctic are not a natural phenomena. This statement is wrong. They are a natural phenomena. So this statement is wrong, not right. Wildfires in Arctic have started to occur more frequently in the last 5 years. Yes, this statement is correct. We saw that. We saw that chart in which we could see the emissions, carbon emissions from the Arctic region in the last 5 years. They have increased a lot. So based on that, this question was there. So this B statement is right. B option is correct. Which among the following is our factors responsible for Arctic wildfires? Heat waves in the Arctic region, yes. Frequent lighting, yes. So both one and two. The three reasons which were given: global warming, heat waves, frequent this lightning. And the last question: which of the following can be a consequence of Arctic wildfires? Consequence means after, in the aftermath, what can happen? Global warming can happen, yes. Due to the thawing of permafrost, there will be more release of carbon gases, methane particularly. Increased methane emissions, yes. More pandemics, yes, as per the predictions done by the scientists. So all of the above is the correct answer of this particular question. Now, with this, we come to an end of today's session. I will be seeing you tomorrow now. with more such informative news pieces and content. Till then, you guys very well know what to do. Keep studying, keep reading, keep writing, and most importantly, keep revising. Keep watching the videos and keep attempting these questions as well. Namaste. Jai Hind.